everybody, this is D Hunter bringing another action figure review. Today we're going to be looking at the Jazwares Fortnite Legendary Series Ruin action figure. This figure is from the most recent assortment of Jazwares figures. There are 4 figures in this assortment. I got my figure from Amazon.com. It was a pre-order, said it would arrive in about a week. I got it about 3 days later. So let's go ahead and check out the packaging here. You can see at the top, Epic Games, Fortnite, Legendary Series, ages 8+, and then here is Ruin. He's got a pickaxe, dynamite, compact SMG or P90, back bling, looks like an infantry rifle perhaps, a heavy shotgun. So this guy's loaded with accessories. One side here, got Ruin kind of posed up. Other side here, pretty much same thing. On the bottom, there is a barcode in case anyone needs it, as well as a bunch of credits. And then the back, here's Ruin, and here's a bunch of other Fortnite figures. We've got Raven and Peely, they're for the previous assortment. Then we've got Galaxy, Sentinel, Beef Boss, and Ruin, part of the new 4. So with no further ado, let's open them up. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all of his accessories laid out. Now Ruin here is a skin you would get during Fortnite Season 8. If you completed a bunch of the Battle Pass challenges, you would unlock the Ruin skin. And if you did some of the Ruin challenges, you would unlock his pickaxe and back bling. This guy comes with a bunch of guns, and all of his guns are first time releases in the Jazwares Fortnite Legendary Collection, which is really, really cool. So this guy has a back bling called Dying Light. He's got a stick of dynamite. He's got a legendary infantry rifle, a heavy shotgun, a compact SMG, and a harvesting tool called Dread. But before we look at his accessories, let's take a look at the actual figure. So here he is, looking pretty nice, kind of intimidating, menacing, all those pieces on him. He's kind of rockish, lava, fire, the things I think of when I see him. He's got some sort of points and spikes on his head. This is a pretty nice skin in the game. My first thought when handling this figure, just wish he was a little bigger. His head looks pretty small on this body. This guy's supposed to be big, large, and intimidating. So now, let's go and check out his accessories. So let's start off by looking at his back bling. This thing is called the Dying Light. It's got this sort of gray, a little bit of transparent red on the inside. Overall, looks pretty cool. It's got the peg that'll connect to the peg hole on his back. And here he is, wearing his back bling. You sure can't really tell from the front, but spin this guy around, and there it is. And here is his back bling next to all the other back blings that Jazwares has made for their Fortnite Legendary Collection. And each back bling is interchangeable with each Jazwares character. And then here are all the back blings by both Jazwares and McFarlane Toys. And even though they do connect to the figure via peg and peg hole the same way, the thickness of the peg is quite different between the 2 different brands, so they are not interchangeable between both lines. And here are several different Jazwares figures wearing each other's back blings, showing you they are interchangeable between the entire Jazwares line. And then if you were to take a McFarlane figure here, they have the hole in the back to attach the back bling. And you were to take a Jazwares back bling, the peg is just too thick, you'll never fit it in no matter how hard you try. And in turn, if you were to take a Jazwares figure and a McFarlane back bling, the peg is too small, it'll fit, but it'll just fall right back out. Next, let's look at his harvesting tool, or more commonly referred to as a pickaxe in Fortnite. This is called Dread. It seems to be made of the same material as Ruin himself. It's got some red, some gray, looking pretty nice. Some good sculpting detail on the handle there. Here he is, holding his pickaxe with 2 hands. And here he goes, pickaxing his way through this brick wall to get to the treasure on the other side. And here he is, exposing the chest on the other side of the wall. Not only did he do this, but he gained some break at the same time. And it looks like he found a heavy shotgun, some dynamite, and a med kit inside this chest. And here are all the pickaxes released by Jazwares for their legendary collection. And each one is interchangeable between each of the Jazwares figures. And here are all the pickaxes by both Jazwares on the top and McFarlane on the bottom. And I'm happy to say they are interchangeable between both lines. And here are several of the Jazwares figures holding each other's pickaxes, showing you they are interchangeable with the entire Jazwares line. And here are a couple of Jazwares figures holding McFarlane pickaxes, and a couple of McFarlane figures holding Jazwares pickaxes, showing you they are interchangeable between both lines. So now let's check out his guns. He comes with a legendary infantry rifle at the top, a heavy shotgun in the middle, and a compact SMG at the bottom. Now all three of these guns are first time releases from Jazwares in their legendary collection. McFarlane has made a heavy shotgun and a compact SMG, but this is the first time either company has made the infantry rifle. Here he is holding the infantry rifle. His hand grips it very nicely. The trigger finger even fits into the trigger, holds it pretty securely. Here he is holding the heavy shotgun, pretty much exact same set of circumstances. And here he is holding the compact SMG. This one doesn't exactly have a traditional trigger area, but all three of these guns fit pretty securely into their hands. I've had some problems with previous Jazwares figures holding their guns. This guy is definitely an improvement. And even though it's not game accurate, if you wanted him to hold more than one weapon at the same time, he sure can. And here are all the different guns Jazwares has made so far in their legendary collection. And here are all the different guns made from both companies, not including the doubles that both companies have made. Here are several different Jazwares figures holding each other's guns, showing you they are interchangeable between the Jazwares figures. If there's any Jazwares figure that's going to have trouble holding the guns, it's the Sentinel chicken guy, because his hands are so weird. And here are some Jazwares figures holding McFarlane guns, and some McFarlane figures holding Jazwares guns, showing you they are interchangeable between both lines. In addition to that, their trigger fingers actually fit into the trigger grate between both companies. Next, let's check out his dynamite. There are 3 sticks wrapped together with a fuse sticking out. Dynamite is an explosive weapon in the game, as you can imagine. You throw it, has a little bit of time as the fuse burns and explodes. One cool thing about this weapon in the game, you can actually pick up someone else's dynamite and throw it back at them. Here he is, getting ready to throw the dynamite at someone or something. Ruin is definitely not the first figure to come with dynamite. There have been 4 figures that came with this so far. I've got 5 of the dynamite accessories because I got 2 crackshot figures, but dynamite also came with Beef Boss, Galaxy, and Ruin. Now that we've taken a very good look at his accessories, next let's check out some other Fortnite accessories or vehicles you can use to enhance your Fortnite collection. Here is Ruin driving a McFarlane Quad Crasher. And here he is riding as a passenger on the back. Even the pegs fit the peg holes on his feet between McFarlane and Jazwares. That's pretty cool. And here he is pushing another character in a McFarlane shopping cart, or getting pushed around in one. Next, let's check him out with a McFarlane glider and launchpad combo set. Here he is next to it fully assembled. Here he is, getting ready to jump off the launch pad and glide away. And yes, he can scale up and actually utilize and hold the McFarlane glider pretty nicely. And yes, he can utilize the Dragon Glider Frostwing as well. And I actually think, as the way this guy looks, he fits in with this glider pretty nicely. Here he is, next to a treasure chest. This treasure chest is a little bit large next to him. It's also made by the Jazwares company, but is intended for the smaller 4-inch figures. You might wonder how it's intended for those figures if it's too large for the 6-inch figures. It wasn't meant to be in scale. It was simply an accessory pack that came with a bunch of weapons and building material. But since chests are a huge part of the game, I like having one that's at least remotely in scale with the figures. Here he is, opening up a llama. Now this llama is not from Jazwares or McFarlane, it's just simply a stuffed animal that I found at Walmart. But when you see a purple or pink llama, you definitely think Fortnite, so I really wanted one for the figures. Here he is, next to a campfire. This campfire came with a NECA Friday the 13th Jason figure, and it doubles up great for a Fortnite accessory. Here he is, holding a can of spray paint, getting ready to tag the wall behind him. Here are a bunch of other accessories you can use to enhance this Fortnite figure. These are accessories that came with previous Jazwares releases. We've got heels, shields, and some balloons. Now that we've taken a very in-depth look at his accessories, next let's check out the height of this figure. So this guy here, from bottom to top, sitting at just about 6.0 inches, which will translate to about 15 centimeters. That is probably my biggest complaint about this guy. He's just a little bit shorter than I'd like. I wish he was bigger, more massive. I think McFarlane would have done a better figure, just my opinion. Next, let's check out this guy's articulation. So starting with his head here, it can go from side to side. He can look down more than I expected, and up about that far. Shoulders on a ball joint, they really can't do much though. They can go out about that far, that's about it. The top part here has armor that prevents it from going inside. Of course, they can go up, down, around, but not out really at all. He's got a butterfly joint inside of here as well, allowing his arms to go forward and back. He's got a bicep cut here. Can't go around too much though. Double joint elbows, but you can't even utilize the double joint. Only goes about 90 degrees in, just too bulky and armored. Doesn't allow it to utilize all the pieces. Wrist can rotate around. It's also hinged, can barely move. Finger articulation on top of that. Ball joint in the torso here. He can go forward and back. He can also rotate. Traditional waist swivel below that. His hips here. Ball joint. He can go out about that far. Forward, about that far. Back, not very much. He's got a thigh cut below that. Double jointed knees. Once again, not getting much past 90 degrees there. Then his foot here. You can go forward and back. Toe articulation. And it can rotate. And I would say between all the Jazwares Fortnite figures they've made, this guy is the second most poorly articulated one. Sentinel gets the award for having the worst articulation. Then we got this guy. And it's not the articulation isn't there, it's just his body and sculpt prevents you from being able to use it properly. Next, let's check him out compared with some other action figures, starting off with some other Fortnite figures. Here he is with the most recent assortment of Fortnite figures they've released. This is his series of 4 figures. We've got Sentinel, Beef Boss, Ruin, and Galaxy. And here's the entire collection of Jazwares Fortnite Legendary figures. And I can tell you what the next 7 releases are going to be. They're making 2 Legendary Loadout Weapons Accessory Packs. Then they're going to make the P1000, Fish Stick, Doggo, Ghoul Trooper, and the Unmolten Battlehound. And here he is next to the entire McFarlane Fortnite collection. And here are all the Fortnite figures that I bought multiples of. You may ask yourself, why so many? I got all 4 of the different wildcard faces to use as the Royal Flesh Gang in my DC action figure world. I got 4 of each of the Skull Troopers to use as Scarecrow henchmen in my Batman figure world. I got 2 crack shots for Toyman henchmen in my DC figure world, and 4 Rabbit Raiders and 4 Night Hares for Mad Hatter henchmen in my Batman world. And here's this guy in a huge battle royale with all my different Fortnite figures. As you can see, here are these guys all shooting each other, driving, sniping, healing, gliding, getting loot, everyone trying to shoot each other, trying to see who can get the most kills, and more importantly, who can get the win. Next, let's check them out compared with some of their action figure lines from different various companies to see how they fit in both scale and style wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix them with. I like to start my comparisons with larger action figure lines and working my way smaller. The Jazwares figures here are 6-inch scale. You can see the massive difference between DST or Diamond Select Toys, which are 7-inch scale. While we've already seen him next to McFarlane's Fortnite figures, here he is next to 4 different lines from McFarlane Toys. And here he is with some NECA figures. Here he is with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here he is with some Mattel wrestling figures. Here he is with some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods action figures, and the lines are still too tall for him. And here with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is next to some Mafex figures, and even though he's getting closer, he is still too small next to them. And here next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. Then with some SH Figure Arts action figures. So overall, this figure is simply okay. My biggest complaint about this figure is not necessarily the way he looks, but how small he is. His head looks really tiny on that body, and next to the other Jazwares figures, he just looks very small. He's about the same size as Wildcard, but Jazwares has made plenty of figures that are taller than the other ones, and this guy would have benefited. The source material is a big, bulky character, and you lose that effect on this figure. He just looks small and shrimpy. Also, the articulation is considerably less than the other figures. If I were to rate this figure, I'd give him a 6 out of 10. Definitely probably in the bottom 5 Jazwares figures they've made so far, in my opinion. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.